Well, let's get some lines drawn in here. Um, it's like a big area of bedrock these guys are sitting on. I did a painting like this maybe 5 years ago or so. A little bit of a different composition, but same idea. And I liked how that turned out. And I remember doing that, so I went online to have a look for it because I liked the layout of the rocks, of the bedrock just poking up. And I think snow, between them kind of thing. So that's what we're shooting for. This is ultramarine blue and raw umber. Oops. Kind of overloaded the brush sometimes, and then you end up with ridges on either side or on one side of the brush. I'd like to avoid that. Don't want ridges of paint. Not on the underpainting and not on this one. Okay. I like that. So I scratched some stuff in with charcoal and it's close to what I'd like. So now with the underpainting, I'd like to modify or eliminate some of the lines that I don't like and paint reasonably accurately the ones that I do like. Yeah, it's a slow process doing an underpainting with this much accuracy to it. Makes the painting more work all around, but that's okay. I feel that the final result is worth it. It's sort of all this ice damaged, ice scraped granitic material. Well, maybe it's not, maybe it's more sandstone-ish, I don't know. I think I'm going to go fairly brown with these rocks, so anyway, it is what it is. Okay-ish. It's kind of what we're after. Slide my chair over. I have had over the years several office chairs that I just roll around on, but the floor in here is carpeting and I'm not going to change it. It's nice and warm on the tootsies in the wintertime. And those plastic pads that you can put under office chairs to roll more easily, they're not big enough because I roll from side to side quite a bit. Not only that, these chairs, if you buy them from your typical office supply store, they last me about a year and a half most, and then they're completely destroyed, so I don't bother. I started out on a kitchen chair and that's where I'm still working. That's what I'm still working with today. Perfectly happy with that. guess in a way, if you have to stand up to scooch over now and then, it's probably a good thing anyway, because then if you stand up, you have more likelihood of standing back while you're at it, you know? And as we all know, there's a great benefit to standing back and looking at your progress. Seeing what kind of a mess you're making. Or, you know, maybe it goes well. It's always a possibility. Do I still want this? Yeah, you know, I think I'll still have that one in there. Okay, that's more or less what we're after for this. So we have a pretty good sweep, you know, our roof lines, our background bush, our foreground, sky is going to oppose that. But there's no harm in opposing it with a line like this either. And, you know, bedrock has cracks in it. So why don't we just color that dark almost right away. Mix up a little more ultramarine blue and raw umber. Okay, all right. Let me just get a little bit of snow in here as well. No, we won't do the snow. First we'll do the rocks. Just basically what those colors are. Let's get that done. Yeah, at the moment it's like working in a coloring book, but the difference being that I made my own outlines, of course. And I'm trying to stay reasonably neat. Okay, straight raw umber. Straight raw umber and some I have some no or low odor terps still in my little dish here, so I'll just keep using that. I dipped into the ultramarine just a little bit. Kind of using a big brush or a small brush for this, but oh well. For the time being, it's okay. That rock's gonna be in the shade. I dipped into the ultramarine blue because, as always, I want to start darker and bring it up lighter. So if I were just to go straight raw umber on washing in these rocks that are in the shadow, wouldn't be dark enough to lay my lighter colors over it. I wouldn't be very happy with that. Let's see, this one will be in the shadow as well. Pretty much everything from this line down is going to be in shadow. That that will help to frame our focal area. Alright, I think I'm getting into bigger areas that have less fussiness, so I'll stop scrubbing a driveway with a toothbrush, and I'll get the proper size brush for what I'm doing here. I could go bigger yet, but I want to be able to be somewhat exact. Well, this canvas, that's, you know, wears out your brushes when it's this aggressive with its tooth. Or it wears out your brush when it's this aggressive with its tooth. But, boy, it sure eats up paint too. It's all that texture, eh? Okay. I might just continue using a hint of ultramarine blue in this, with this raw umber, because as I say, it's much easier to go lighter than it is to go darker. You put dark over light, it's doable, it's just more difficult to manage, that's all. Okay. Getting closer. Oops. And as you can see on the sheds that I've put in here, or the cabins, what have you. Excuse me. I've made small adjustments to the roof lines, you know, and from the last video I've raised this side. I think this is likely going to do the distant hill line here is going to be brought down a little bit. A lot of trees there, none here. You know, the only greenery here might be a little bit of lichen, something like, you know, something along those lines. Maybe a hunk of driftwood. I don't know. Driftwood. I don't know. But right now it's kind of, you could say it's early spring, or it's just after the first snowfall. We've had some wind. You know, the snow doesn't sit on the ground like a postcard would show it. It really just, it has fallen. We've had wind, and that wind has blown the clear, dry snow off the dry snow clear off the top of these rocky structures. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I think that's okay. Now what I'm going to do is get rid of my raw umber here, and I won't drag you along for all of this, but I'll just show you what I'm going to put in as a wash. Remember, this is darker than what it's going to be. I'll be laying highlights. That's snow for you too. You want to be able to put in numerous highlights in places. But this is going to be ultramarine blue and yellow ochre. And that's about it. Okay, this is the stuff in the shade. I know it looks very dark right now. It's okay. It's gonna get lightened up a little bit. No worries about that. Let's grab the small brush. I don't want to make a mess. So as you can see, as I'm doing the wash in, it's very dark. You know, it seems kind of counterintuitive to make such a dark wash in when I'm claiming this is going to be a painting with snow in it. But it works. Works for me. And when I do the actual overpainting of this snow, it looks kind of dark and dirty now. It's still going to look dark, but it'll look cleaner. Okay, let's just raise our value a little bit. I'm going to go back into these colors down here, but for the moment, and just for the sake of the video, because I'm not going to drag you through all of this, I'm going a little higher value, but not much. Not even sure how much you can see that on camera. darker back there too. You know, we're going to focus. This will all have some light on it. This is where the light will really stand. Because this is going to be our focal point, right? A little bit to the right of center. Actually, I shouldn't even say that, because with a panoramic scene, your focal point can be like this, or your focal area rather. And then to pick a focal point, it's a little bit moot in my opinion. Worrying about small technicalities. Well, they're not small technicalities, but they're you're certainly not you're not needing to adhere too rigidly or as rigidly to some of the rules of design. As I've said many times, you know, you follow the rules of design and you will end up with a safe, good painting, provided, of course, you're capable of doing that to begin with. But and you have a better chance of ending up with a good composition. But if you break the rules of design and you still end up with a good painting, that is a better painting, because it'll be more interesting. It won't be so safe and predictable. Okay, I'll leave it at that for now. Talk to you soon.